We are about to go already, and in fact, we are going to find ourselves experiencing the gameplay for our own two eyes. I am, of course, Aggro. That person over there is Lecter. Behind the mic is MDL. We are enjoying the semi-finals of Fortress Faceoffs Pyro Edition.
And it seems like right away we see a big fight centered around the high ground above the point, and it does seem like the blue team is very dominantly winning this one.
Yeah, that's PNS making a move to become the only living team right now. They're not just dominating, but they're fragging out. They're enjoying themselves. They're posing on midpoint. It's finally going to go their way.
There's a clean 5-0, not even dropping a single player, the blue team there. So that was a pretty dominant mid fight.
Yeah, that's a team that knows the map versus a team that is experiencing the map possibly for the first time. But as experience grows, as people get more wary and more understanding of what needs to be done, they're going to be fighting themselves a little bit more. Garden Fungus finally gets a kill. Finally, Garden Fungus placed themselves on the scoreboard for the first time, and even does a little bit of a turnaround. There's a 1v1 on the actual point itself. The rest of the teammates, I don't know where they are, but Garden Fungus actually getting a bit of damage done.
As you see, there's a lot of dancing around the pillars and trying to poke at each other across the point. It's going to make for a very interesting dynamic. It looks like the red team does try to push in here, though.
Yep.
But they are running into some resistance.
Absolutely. GOOF managing to not quite take that point for themselves. And in fact, the ticker timer has worked its way all over the place over this little exchange. GOOF again going to make a play on this midpoint, but get themselves a little bit out of focus. Once again, PNS moving together as one big massive force. Here comes GOOF though. Garden Fungus not willing to take this lying down, is pushing in on his own, going up against a similar team of size and dynamics and importance. Garden Fungus not quite going to be, I don't know, are they going to be a victor? They're definitely going to run away. It's the right move to make. But the control point is very much in GOOF's hands right now.
Yeah, they did manage to get a cap in there, but basically as they capped them, they dropped 2 or 3 players, and their advantage was very quickly lost to the blue team, who is now once again working their way back into the cap. Only 30 seconds off the clock for the red team.
It's nothing.
Yeah, it's something, but the blue team is they have about a minute up on them, so it's a pretty sizable advantage.
I am very worried about my channel points right now, since GOOF seems to be back on their back foot, as it were. Benefactor out on their own and finding themselves very much overwhelmed. Perhaps Frost was the one that took the final death for them, but nonetheless, here they come. They're actually going to make some sort of push towards mid, find themselves taking down Frylock. That is a good move for them, but it's still a couple of players hanging out in cave, waiting for that onslaught that's going to be happening. Rez out on their own, trying to do as much as they possibly can. 1 versus 3, 1 versus 2 versus 3. Rez, I can't believe Rez was still alive, and of course, Caster's Curse. As soon as we said so, Rez was immediately downed by this very aggressive, offensive team of PNS. They really do know what they're about on this map.
Yes, it's a really dominant performance. I'm starting to wonder if maybe the bet you made is just a variation of the Caster's Curse, you know?
I clearly, I didn't say, I wasn't going to say who was going to be a winner, but it looks like I've goofed something up myself. And this is definitely not the right prediction that I could have made under these circumstances. GOOF, who have previously shown themselves to be very valid, very strong players, are being just trounced on to the extent that even Frylock right now is goofing around by spectacularly playing the guitar as the first capture point goes to PNS, a dominant and dominating team by all accounts.
Yeah, there is. The blue team wasn't even going super deep. They were just staying around the point and just picking those fights around the point, not going into the enemy house or taking the space on the red side. They really just played a very controlled game and got all the frags they needed to, and then so that they could, you know, play the guitar on point.
Spooky took it very much the long way round to try and get out and make some sort of a special play. Now they moved in with I'm dumb stupid idiot, and that didn't seem to be a play that worked out terribly well for them. I would not be too surprised. In fact, there it goes. GOOF finally getting not only just the point, but actually the priority on the point, the first to take it in this particular round, this particular time. And not only that, but it looks like the PNS team are working their way back in. They've done a lot of damage here. Rez is left out on their own, trying to defend this point on their lonesome, although a lonesome versus Spooky and Emir versus Frylock as well. Those three players managed to take down the only defense being offered at this time and capture the point for themselves. The red team of GOOF were only able to get just over 30 seconds before
I'm seeing some hiders now for the blue team. They're sitting in funny little corners on ledges. They're getting ready for the ambushes as red tries to come in and push out the point.
We did talk about this, the possibility of hanging out on not just a full-on look at me, we're going to take you down, but actually, as you say, hiding out in the ledges and making full use of the map that's available to them. This is a very high damage, high impact map where it's really a case of forcing teams to think of the team play versus the DM play. And in doing so, they've all moved through a tiny, weeny little corridor together and were immediately hit by a bit of gas passing. And I think that has resulted in a few deaths for the GOOF team. A single player left alive.
It seems the red team is having some difficulty even making it to the point now, as someone is cheekily hiding right next to the spawn door. He's letting them pass.
They are waiting.
Nobody checked the corner, and now he got one pick. He's maybe turning it into two here. Okay, they did manage to trade him out. They did manage to trade the second player, so now the red team is able to turn this disadvantage into an advantage, maybe?
Oh, 3 players alive, 3 versus 2, and it should be a straight win. But Fish very much holding their own. If Fish is able to take down Dawson, they did so. My goodness me, they actually turned it around. Fish seems to be a standalone. In fact, Spooky was the last man standing on that particular point. Yes, very much a case of misunderestimating the enemy force.
Yeah, red's pretty comfortable around the point now, and blue really needs to group up if they want to get anything going here. It's just one blue player. The blue team does manage to find picks though, as they're all pushing in together and completely wiping the red team. Wow, that's impressive.
That's more than just picks. That's an entire wipe. That's an entire team down. While the spawn time may not necessarily be with them if they capture, that was still enough to force a complete rethink from this red team. GOOF are moving in now. Emir, I think, did the whole hide behind and wait for them to go past thing. Didn't quite work out for them that time. In fact, the very much the numbers in GOOF's hat right now. 1 versus 2, 1 versus 3. Spooky holding their own, making a bit of an impact, ensuring that point is not going to be captured until the last moment. But now we see the timer very much being in the court of GOOF team. Although, having said that, it's only really Rez that's left alive to try and do any defense. Rez and, of course, my mistake, one other, but still, an exchange happening on mid where the respawn timers aren't really going to be with GOOF because, of course, they've got the point. So every damage, every life that goes down is a life that is going to stay down for quite some time. Right, PNS finally taking that mid.
Yeah, they are down 2 players as the cap happened though, so red might be able to just come and swoop in and take the point back. As a matter of fact, it does seem like they're doing exactly that.
players on the point trying to do the capture while at the same time defending the point. We've seen this not work in several teams' advantage, and it doesn't seem to be doing too much now. A lot of the sneakiness that was taken into effect in the first few moments has been almost obliterated, and now we're seeing a 1v1 or 1v4, I should say, on the point. It's not enough to be effective. It's not enough to be useful. This was a very fast turnaround for PNS Fish. Sorry, for PNS as a team. They are absolutely 100% dominant on this map, to the extent that I don't even know what happened. That was extraordinary. That was GOOF eating dirt. That was GOOF being set on fire. That was GOOF being stuffed down a small chimney, and PNS just dribbling lighter fuel all over their heads and taking them out without even buying them dinner first.
Yeah, that was a very dominant play by the blue team. They inserted their position there. It's Red really didn't stand a chance. It was almost a very one-sided game, unfortunately.
Yeah, absolutely. I had expected a great deal more out of GOOF. I genuinely would not have pinned this result. In fact, I didn't pin this result from the beginning. I'm taken aback by how solid an offensive action PNS were able to create, and more than just being offensive, as you called out earlier in the game, having taken the point and deciding to hide in an area right outside GOOF spawn, to be in a position to say, not only am I taking this point, not only is this my point now, go away, it's my point, but also I'm going to be sneaky, I'm going to be offensive, I'm going to make you pay for having the audacity to respawn. That's the next level. That is taking your advantage and really milking it for all it's worth. PNS seem to be, I don't know whether they're the bad guys, but certainly the not the underdogs, shall we say, going into the next round.